In the heart of the dense, whispering woods, four friends set up camp on a moonless night. The crackling campfire was their only source of comfort as darkness shrouded their surroundings. Tales of ghostly apparitions and vanishing campers had circulated these woods, but they dismissed them as mere campfire stories. As they roasted marshmallows and shared laughter, a bone-chilling gust of wind swept through the trees, extinguishing their fire. Nervous chuckles turned to uneasy glances. Ignoring their growing unease, they rekindled the fire, but the forest seemed to close in around them, as if it were alive. Hours passed, and strange noises echoed through the night, a distant whisper, an eerie laughter, and footsteps that seemed to draw nearer. The friends huddled together, scanning the darkness. That's when they saw it, a flickering light amidst the trees, like a lantern swaying in the wind. Curiosity compelled them to follow it. The lantern led them deeper into the woods, away from their campsite. The path grew narrower, the trees taller and more twisted. The friends exchanged worried glances but couldn't resist the lantern's pull. It led them to an abandoned cabin, its windows shattered and its door creaking ominously. Hesitating, they entered the cabin, their hearts pounding. Inside, a room filled with rotting furniture and tattered curtains awaited them. At the center of the room stood a decrepit, dusty mirror, its glass covered in cobwebs. As they approached, their reflections in the mirror twisted and distorted into grotesque, contorted figures. Panic set in, and they tried to escape, but the cabin seemed to have a will of its own. The door slammed shut, trapping them inside. Whispers grew louder, shadows danced, and their flashlights flickered and died. They were trapped in a nightmarish realm, with no way out. One by one, they disappeared, consumed by the malevolent force that dwelled within the cabin. Only one friend remained, trembling in the dark. Desperation turned to terror as she saw her friend's ghostly figures appear in the mirror, their eyes hollow and mournful. The lantern's light grew brighter, revealing a sinister face in the mirror, twisted, skeletal, and dripping with malevolence. It whispered her name, and with a blood-curdling scream, she too became a part of the cursed reflection, forever trapped in the haunted mirror. The cabin returned to its silent, abandoned state, while the legends of the missing campers became another chilling tale told around campfires. The woods remained dark and forbidding, concealing the horrors that lurked within, waiting for the next unsuspecting souls to cross their path. The Haunting of Whispering Pines. Once, in the remote wilderness of Whispering Pines, a group of friends set out for a camping trip that would change their lives forever. The forest was dense, the air thick with the secrets of centuries past, and the only sound was the eerie whispering of the wind through the trees. As the group set up their campsite near a tranquil lake, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. That night, around the flickering campfire, they shared tales of local legends, including one about the vengeful spirit of a hermit who had vanished in these woods decades ago. Soon after, strange things began to happen. Footsteps echoed through the darkness when no one was there, and chilling laughter carried on the wind. The campfire, no matter how much they fed it, refused to grow beyond a feeble, flickering glow. Unease settled upon the group, and they questioned their decision to camp here. One night, as they huddled in their tents, a blood-curdling scream tore through the silence. Terrified, they scrambled out, only to find one of their friends missing. In the dim moonlight, they followed a trail of torn fabric and broken twigs deeper into the woods, until they reached an ancient, decaying cabin. Its windows were shattered, and the door creaked open as if inviting them inside. They entered cautiously, their hearts pounding with fear. Inside, they found cryptic symbols smeared on the walls and what looked like dried blood. The air grew colder, and the sound of whispers surrounded them. Then, a raspy voice echoed from the shadows, telling them the tragic tale of the hermit who had once lived here, betrayed by the very friends he had trusted. Desperate to escape, they fled the cabin and ran back to their campsite, only to discover that their tents had been shredded and their belongings scattered. The forest seemed to close in around them, and the whispering intensified. They realized that the spirit of the hermit was seeking revenge for the betrayal he had suffered, and now he sought to claim their lives. With no other choice, they made a desperate dash towards the lake. As they reached its shore, the wind howled, and the trees groaned in agony. The hermit's vengeful spirit emerged from the darkness, its hollow eyes fixed on them. They plunged into the icy waters of the lake, hoping to escape the malevolent entity. The water seemed to shield them, and the spirit's screams faded into the night. As dawn broke, they swam back to shore, exhausted and traumatized. The forest of whispering pines had taken its toll, leaving them forever haunted by the memory of that fateful camping trip. To this day, the legend of Whispering Pines endures, a chilling warning to those who dare to camp in its shadowy depths. Beware the hermit's wrath, for once you enter, you may never leave. The haunting in the wilderness. Deep within the heart of the dense, ancient forest, 5 friends set up camp for a weekend of adventure. They had heard the rumors, the unsettling stories about the woods, but they dismissed them as campfire tales meant to scare children. Little did they know, their camping trip would turn into a nightmare beyond their darkest fears. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the forest seemed to come alive with eerie noises. Twigs snapped, leaves rustled, and the wind whispered secrets only the trees understood. The group gathered around their crackling campfire, trying to shake off their unease with laughter and ghost stories of their own. But the forest had other plans. The darkness thickened, and strange shadows danced among the trees. One by one, their flashlights flickered and died. Panic set in as they realized they were completely engulfed in darkness. A bone-chilling silence descended upon them. Then, a haunting melody echoed through the trees, a mournful tune played on a violin. They looked around, but there was no one there. The source of the sound seemed to shift, as if carried by the wind. Terror gnawed at their hearts as they stumbled blindly through the inky blackness, desperately searching for their campsite. Whispers in the shadows taunted them, and ghostly figures darted just beyond the edge of their vision. The forest itself seemed to be a living entity, guiding them deeper into its labyrinth. Hours passed, and exhaustion overcame them. Huddled together, they dared not speak, for fear that whatever lurked in the darkness might hear. The violin's mournful melody continued, growing louder and more frantic. Just when they thought they couldn't endure another moment, they stumbled upon an abandoned cabin. It stood decrepit and foreboding, but it was shelter from the unrelenting night. They entered, hoping for safety. Inside, they discovered a dusty old diary, its pages filled with the ramblings of someone who had gone mad in the woods. It spoke of a malevolent spirit, a vengeful entity bound to the forest for eternity. The spirit craved company, and those who ventured into the woods were never allowed to leave. Tears welled in their eyes as they realized the truth. They were not alone in the cabin. A shadowy figure stood in the corner, the source of the haunting violin music. It turned slowly, revealing a twisted, malevolent face. The friends screamed and fled the cabin, running blindly through the forest once more. The violin music pursued them, growing louder and more deranged. It echoed in their minds, driving them to the brink of madness. Just when they thought they would be lost forever, they stumbled back into their campsite, the first rays of dawn breaking through the trees. The haunting melody ceased, and the forest fell silent once more. They packed up their belongings and left the woods, haunted by the nightmarish experience. They knew they had narrowly escaped the clutches of the malevolent spirit, but the chilling melody and the memory of that night would forever haunt their dreams, a reminder that some stories are not meant to be dismissed as mere tales around the campfire.